Hello friends, here we are in Colorado, and we are entitling this episode,
That's all, folks.
Okay, so this will be highlights from 2021, and it's really not all, because we've got more coming, but Here we go.
So when we say that's all, folks, what we mean is that's it for 2021. It's not it for our tour. We're going to keep going, but we wanted to highlight a few things. So, beginning with...
And we want to share some of the raw and the real with what it's been like to be back in Colorado. You would think, oh, Colorado must be all great. But we've come back to not being in our home, and our kids are still off, working and at college, and yes, they're coming back, but they're trickling back. So family time is maybe not what we thought it would be, to missing our RV.
Yeah, we weren't happy about leaving Florida.
Yeah.
In fact, we were in such a rhythm that we said, I'm not ready to stop yet. So that was difficult to kind of shut everything down there and then make our way back here. But being back in Colorado also reminds us, and as we look back in retrospect of what this year has been, I think there's a few things that come to mind. One is losses, and the other is new beginnings.
Yep.
Reconnecting with people, new connections that we have. So those two areas, so beginning with losses.
As you know, we've shared before the losses of some dear friends. Began with Larry Crabb, to Dick Patty, to Bob Taylor.
Yeah.
And I think as we've traveled and we've had significant conversations with people about loss, it's been a gift to reflect on their lives and to carry their vision and their hopes in some ways with this trip that we're on forward, because that's a lot of the vision Dick Patty had for alumni.
Mm-hmm. And it's also reminded us that this 2021 has been a year of new beginnings. Mm-hmm. Cadence, we know that 2020 was a year of loss for everybody. And out of that, we lost work with Compassion for me, but the new beginning for us has been working with my wife for Cadence, and you've seen some of that. I know another big loss for us was we left as empty nesters. Mm-hmm. We sent Michaela off, and we've talked about that. But we realized that we're entering a whole new season of life, and one of the ways to deal with empty nesting is you fly the coop yourself. you just say we're not going back home. But it's also been, this trip has been a time this year, 2021 has been a time of reconnecting with old friends, but also a new beginning with new friends along the way. That's been the exciting part of 2021 for us, and we can't wait to keep moving into 22. As you remember, when we left you last time, we had just left Charlotte. And where were we heading to from there?
Orlando, Florida.
No.
No. Whoops. My bad. We've been so many places, I am so confused.
Yeah. When we left Charlotte, we went to Athens, Tennessee.
Yeah, that's where we went.
And what did we do in Athens?
That's where we hung out with Richard and Elaine Newman and had a phenomenal time with them. They were able to get us on a radio show where Elaine works every day, and we had about a 10-minute snippet to share about Cadence, and that was really fun.
From there, he took us around in a tour of Athens in his 1931 Chevy sedan. What a great time. That's the way to see a town.
Yeah.
And everybody's watching you as you're looking around the town.
Great time. Had a gathering in their home.
They also introduced us to Dr.
William Keith Wheeler. He actually served in Misawa, Japan with his wife and family years ago, but his wife died suddenly of a brain aneurysm just before the pandemic hit. So we just had a really special time of connecting with him and hearing his story.
We went from Athens, Tennessee down to Woodstock, Georgia.
And so Maylin and James Biggs, and Maylin and I go way back to when I was a teenager living in Germany at the K-Town house in Kaiserslautern. She was one of the soldiers that attended our hospitality house. So great time, had a gathering in their home.
They were just so Jesus to me.
Very rich conversations and stories told.
That was really a good time. We went from there over to Eastover, South Carolina.
Victory Ranch.
Yeah, to Victory Ranch. We've got a number of folks that work with Cadence in that area. We did a gathering with around 40 people that were there.
got to pass out 7 alumni coins. We had couples that drove in for the whole weekend from quite a distance and had a great, rich time together.
And one of the fun things was we got to do dinner with all the local Cadence staff. There was Eric and Janet Thamel,
Hugh and Debbie Wilson,
Bob and Glenda Ball,
Andrea Haddock and Laurel and Cedric Givry. Just had a really special time with all of them. Mm-hmm. They're doing a great work there in that area.
We were also able to grab a few snippets of some interviews while we were in Eastover at Victory Ranch. And this is Rick Hurst. And then right after that, you're going to hear from Jeff Hilton.
We have been supporting Victory Ranch. We take up an offering every month and bring it out to Eric and Janet, and just so much appreciate what it means to me to have a place to minister.
My background is Air Force, and I was fortunate enough to run into the Cadence Ministry Overseas Christian Servicemen Center at that time, and was on air base in Korea, and ran into Eric and Janet Thamel there at the chapel, and just really appreciate them offering something that the chapel couldn't in terms of being in a home setting, off base.
From there, we took a day off in Charleston.
Wow, a day off.
What a novel idea.
Finally.
And we did a horse-drawn tour around the city of Charleston and just got a really, really fun perspective of the city.
Yep.
From there, we were driving to Bob and Annie Miller's, but on the way, a really special thing for me, we got to spend some time with Mike and Shannon Hawley. Now, many of you know that when I was 10 years old, I lost my oldest brother in a car accident. And at that time, my brother Roland, his girlfriend was Shannon Oglesby. And Roland's best friend was Mike Hawley. Well, as a result of the tragedy, God brought these two together. And they've been married ever since. Mike is a retired Navy man and is working there with Marines in the area, in the Beaufort area. Just a gift to be reunited with them while we were there.
From there, we went on to see Bob and Annie Miller. Had a great time gathering at their home, where we actually got to meet Maria and Tatiana. They are 2 ladies who know Wes and Elaine Aldridge from the bomb holder days.
Because of their ministry, I came back to my walk because I was far gone. So and I was afraid to go back into that barracks drinking life again. That's why I wanted to find good friends, so I started going to the chapel. And I was even more excited to find somebody single.
The biggest struggle in bomb holder was bomb holder had a dark cloud. You know, the single soldiers wouldn't get out of the barracks and stuff like that. And when Jordan came up, and then a couple of us associated with her, just kind of helped build the singles.
Next, we went to Florida and got to be with Scott and Rebecca Crawford in Jacksonville, and had a really significant time on base with them, with some other mostly guys and a couple gals. Great time seeing them relate to their people and to hear their story.
It's a brand new ministry, and it was really fun because not only did we get to see some of the beginning of the ministries, but Scott took us out for a day of fishing, which my wife loved it, so you can see on screen. It was a perfect day for us.
And it just ministered to our souls. I needed especially that day just to get out in nature and to get away from my phone, and so it was a gift.
We went from there down to Gainesville, Florida, to see some dear friends, Roy and Debbie Guerin. They served with the Navigators, but they've been great friends since, going back to graduate school. So 25, 26, 27 years ago.
They love Cadence and keep cheering us on. From there, we went to Stephen Teeter Malden in DeLand, Florida, if I'm saying that right. They've been serving with Cadence as limited term for 18 years and doing phenomenal ministry. They really rolled the carpet out and had us actually be introduced at 3 different church services at their church, and then Duncan and I got to lead their Sunday school class of about 40 people that morning, and then that night, it was a long day, that night we had a gathering at their home with about 25 people that came, including Will and Diane Stevenson, who are also limited term with Cadence, and they will be hosting a gathering when we get back to Florida in just a couple of weeks.
So from there, we went on to Orlando, Florida. Along the way, we heard about Wycliffe Associates having an RV camp, made some connections there, and it's been a gift.
I've been really encouraged by just their kingdom-mindedness and talking with some of their volunteers, and it's actually inspiring us as we think of our alumni and how God could use us going forward. What will that look like?
While we were there, we also got to reconnect with Ben and Connie Katie, and they brought their friends.
Yes, Ron and Sandy Thomason, who actually served in Subic ministry. Well, they were attending the ministry there underneath Ben and Connie Katie at the time, and actually lived with the Katies for a while.
We got another couple days off in Anna Maria, Florida. Jess and Scott McCrae, they invited us to come down and spend a couple days with them just to unplug for a little bit. And again,
go fishing.
and we got to go fishing
And we
again.
caught some cool looking fish.
Yeah, they're
You'll
kind
probably
of
see some
ugly.
pictures, yeah.
So after fishing with the McCraes, we went back to Colorado. We flew back and we were able to have Thanksgiving.
With my folks and all of our kids, except for sadly Zach and Cassie couldn't join us, but we are looking forward to getting some time with them at Christmas. And we also got to join the soldiers at the hospitality house. It's called The Gathering at Fort Carson.
So that was how we ended part one of the RV tour. We're back here in Colorado now. We came back for the holidays, but we also got to have a little bit of fun.
Yeah, we went to the zoo.
So you'll see some crazy shots from our family at the zoo.
Yeah, and then Duncan.
Right after Thanksgiving, got on a plane. After all the COVID restrictions that have been keeping us from going to Africa, finally got a window to be able to go. Brian Klager and I went. We've been doing work over there for a number of years, and it was so good to be back for a couple of weeks. And God just opened up some great opportunities for us that you'll hear more about. And we want to end like we always do with our Cadence Alumni story. The alumni story on this video is my story. 10 years ago, I was an alumni of Cadence. I was working with a ministry called ICM, and we opened up a whole new country, the country of Burundi, and that's where we're standing right now. And I invited my close friend Jeff Campbell and the European director for Cadence, and Brad invited his friend, Brian Klager. And Brian, tell me a little bit about what you were thinking back in that very first trip 10 years ago.
Yeah, 10 years ago I was thinking, all right, Brad's invited me to go. I have something stirring in my heart for doing ministry in Africa, but I have no idea where this might go. There's way more questions than there was any sort of certainty or direction.
Yeah. Since then, we have done chaplain training.
Yeah. Seminars on trauma healing.
Yep. We've worked with some development ministries. We're actually standing with one of the ministries we partnered with, and they are doing incredible work among the pygmy people in bringing in some sustainable farming. So we were working with Kiki working with wounded soldiers. Kiki, tell us a little bit about what you do with the wounded soldiers.
Okay, we have two communities just now. The main thing we do is to disciple the wounded soldier. They have many problems. They live a hard life, and also it's a problem for them to feed their families and to get medications. Many of them are in hospital for many years. We hope God will provide. And these two amazing visitors, Brian and Duncan, they done a good job with us to encourage them to share Christmas Day, to play with kids. Just to encourage one another, to encourage the wounded soldier in the community, in the hospital.
One of the things we are here doing this time is we are gathering stories from some of those wounded soldiers. We hope to be coming back to you with a sponsorship program so you can come alongside some of the families that Kiki just talked about?
Yeah, we're dreaming that there's a strong enough partnership that all the needs that Kiki's talking about, the discipleship, the spiritual, the physical, the economic, that all that can be funded by people in the States. If you don't know, Burundi's one of the 3 poorest nations in the world. The people are extremely malnourished here, and so in a country like that, and then you have the handicap that Kiki just described, there's a lot of needs, but the ability for you to partner with us and supporting them is a huge gift. There's 12 wounded soldier communities around the nation. Right now we're working in 2.
So that's the big challenge in front of us. Thank you so much for following us on the tour that we're on, but also thank you so much for the support you've been giving to us over the last number of years. 10 years down the road, who knows what we could be doing together. If you have a dream that you've been thinking about with military, that's what we're on the road for. We hope that you'll have those kind of dreams as well, and that we could be part of joining that. If you're an alumni of Cadence, we want to tell your alumni story. So, that's all, folks, at least for 2021. Thanks for joining us again on our tour around the United States. We're so grateful for this privilege that we've been able to do. And right now, we want to just say a special thank you to the Daltons, to the Reynolds, to the Ingrams for helping host us while we're back here in Colorado. We're so grateful for a place with friends to crash. And some folks have been asking about supporting.
Yeah, and no pressure at all, you guys, but if you do want to be a part of this journey and want to give to Cadence Alumni Project, you'll see on your screen a link there. Thanks again for joining us. We love you and can't wait to see you in 2022. Bye for now.